via Zoom and in person. The contact information, ID 811-6429-6943 to log into Zoom. The passcode is 330655. Phone login is 1-646-931-3860. Public input may be provided using the following methods. Prior to the meeting, contacting the Board of Selectmen office at boardofselectmen@dayton-ma.gov, via Zoom call-in at the number I mentioned a minute ago. This will be continued play on Dayton Channel 9 and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton. This meeting is being recorded. The listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. At this time, I will call the order.
Ken Pacheco, present.
Peter Karen here.
Leonard Hull, present. I ask that we rise for a pledge of allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since please remain standing. Since our last meeting, we've had one Dayton resident who has passed. Margaret Mendonca, 77, of Dayton. She is survived by her husband, John, and children, Keith, Daniel, and Holly. Could we have a moment of silence and respect to the family of Margaret Mendonca? Thank you.
Thank you.
This evening, we mark the retirement of two individuals who have served this town with distinction and have given many, many years for the betterment of all. First on the agenda this evening is Janice Terry. Mrs. Terry? We have a certificate and some flowers for you for this evening. I started my career in politics thanks to you many years ago as a member of the Board of Selectmen. You taught me a great deal. And I'm at it, still doing it in a different role, but thanks to you. I know you've touched the lives of many people in the community, children as well as adults. And we want to thank you. 33 years? That's incredible. I know Superintendent Rooney had a presentation with the school committee at their last meeting, and you're deeply appreciated by all. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas Mrs. Janice Terry was first elected as Dayton-Rehoboth Regional School District School Committee member in 1990 and has served the community in that role for the 33 years since. And whereas Mrs. Janice Terry served as chairman of the school committee several times and was a member of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, was involved with collective bargaining and served on several search committees for superintendents. And whereas Mrs. Janice Terry served as chairman of the school committee several times, was a member of the Mass Association of School Committees. Whereas Janice Terry, along with her husband Charles, donated $100,000 to the Dayton-Rehoboth Regional School District for their special education program in honor of their daughter Lisa A. Terry, who passed away in April 2021. And whereas Mrs. Janice Terry's unwavering commitment to education, as well as her philanthropy, have impacted and will continue to impact countless lives in our community. And now, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Dayton, do hereby recognize Mrs. Terry for her hard work and dedication to our community and its residents. On behalf of our grateful community, we extend our sincere gratitude to Mrs. Janice Terry for her tireless efforts to move Dayton forward. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the great seal of the Town of Dayton to be affixed on this 5th day of April 2023. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Dayton, Leonard E. Hull Jr., Chairman, Peter D. Karen, Clerk, Kenneth J. Pacheco, Member. Mrs. Terry, I am also honored to have with us this evening Representative Pat Haddad and Senator Mark Pacheco. Mrs. Haddad, I understand you have a proclamation or a citation to present. Ladies before gentlemen, Mr. Pacheco.
So, Mrs. Terry, this is a placeholder because we have a resolution going through the legislative process for you. So this is just so that I could say, 30 years you've seen so much in education. You've seen it evolve, you've seen its wrinkles and pimples, and you have, according to everyone who's told me, you have been the steadiest rock through, you know, what all of the new things that have happened, trying to keep the good, get rid of the bad, and evolve forward to make sure that our kids have a great education. And your generosity is unparalleled. Special needs is very dear to my heart. And for you to do that for the most challenged of our students is an amazing thing. So I just want to congratulate you. As having been a school committee person myself, I know that it's not an easy job, not an easy job. So hold on to this, and I'm going to get in touch with you when we have the bigger version. Thank you. Thank you.
Senator Mark Pacheco.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the Board of Selectmen, for you to the audience that is with us this evening in person, and those that are at home with us virtually. Let me just take this opportunity, as Pat just did, to congratulate you on the significant public service that you have given to your community, to the schools. I just want to say thank you. And I have a Commonwealth of Massachusetts citation It has also been followed up because we just found out about it last week. So, in the legislative process, we don't do anything quickly. So we have a formal proclamation that is a resolution, actually, it's called, that will make sure, as the House one does, that your achievements and service in everything that you have done for the school children and the society in general gets properly recognized in the history books of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that's what that resolution will do when it's read and adopted. But in the meantime, because we knew this was going on this evening, we wanted to get you his citation in recognition of your retirement from the Dayton Public Regional School Committee after 30 years of dedicated service within the town of Dayton. It's signed by the President of the Senate, Karen Spolka. It's attested to by the clerk of the Senate, and it's my honor as the senator from this district who has had the opportunity to bump into you over the years so many times, especially with the work that your husband was doing and all of the times we had the opportunity to come in contact with each other over the years, to say thank you very much on behalf of a grateful Commonwealth for your public service.
Mrs. Terry, we also have, on the behalf of the Board of Selectmen,
Okay, good. Wants me to wait a minute, she has something to tell me, and I said, is it that?
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, I'll tell you,
Uh-oh.
but maybe once in a while when you saw me, you could have been saying my twin sister. Many, many times, people would pick up with me, or, that's okay.
Yeah. Double trouble.
So thank you very
Thank you.
much. I guess one of the things I'll say here that I said last week at the school committee finale, I probably was the shortest person here. And I have a couple of pictures of both our superintendent and then the chair of the school committee. And me standing in the middle, and they must have been 8 feet tall. I was there and it was kind of not nice. But that's how it goes. I always used to say I probably would be 13 feet tall if I was one person, but I had to share my health with my twin sister. That's why I'm only this big. But, and I briefly will talk about the donation that got made to the school district. When our daughter passed away, she worked 20 hours a week. Really, over the years, accumulated. My husband says it's the insurance. I don't understand about the money part, but anyway, we received over $100,000 from her insurance, and we didn't even think about what we want to do with it. We wanted it to go to special ed school district, because she was served by the 12 years, maybe even longer, because she went to some special programs. But she ended up being such a sweetheart, and if any of you know her, it's the truth about her. She was just enjoyable. She and I would sit at night talking. Mostly she liked to tell me how great her father was. And I so, as far as she was concerned, Dad, number what am I? Remember Lisa went through special ed. Her answer was a question to me, well, how old are you? It wasn't like I could be number 2. Whatever my age was, that's where I stood. I accepted that, because I know deep in her heart, I really was number 1. So, other than that, I used to think of school committee, that was my job. I stayed home to raise 3 sons. A couple that I said I was giving away, not with cash, because boy, they were a challenge. But the one in the middle is still a sweetheart, very kind and gentle. So I could have had a half a dozen of him, but definitely not the other two. Definitely not. So, but we've done well. My sweet girl is buried right on our property. I have times when I can't go visit her, it just bothers me so much. But then other times I got a lot to tell her, a lot about Dad. She will know what he's up to. But it's been a good life for us, and I truly appreciate all of this. And we've got some beautiful flowers at home that he's taken care of, plants some, and so I got to keep her around. We've been married 63 years, I think. I think that's how long it's been. After a while, you just kind of forget. been married, so, but I think we'll hang in there for a little bit longer. Am I right, Charles?
Whatever you say.
Thank you.
And so, Janice, I also want to thank you for all you've done for all the students in Dayton, the 30-some years that you've been doing it, but more importantly, your advocacy for students of special needs. You've been well known for all the work you've done for them, and I want to thank you personally. It's helped a nephew of ours that was in our school system, so I really appreciate everything you've done for Dayton. I just want to add, we just had a brief conversation earlier. Last week, you were talking about how you're going to be home 24/7 with your husband. I'm going to be home with my wife 24/7. So I suggest that they form a support group and they can talk to each other, and you and I can get together when they have their meetings, and we could talk about them. Yeah, so do I. So do I. So thank you very much for everything you've done for Dayton.
I really have enjoyed it. I used to say it was fun, but honestly, it's not fun the last few years. But I just would go to meetings, do what we have to do, and hopefully the kids are the ones that benefited most by it. Special ed was dear to my heart. Because of my daughter, but didn't got to meet some fabulous people. If you've got a special needs child, you're special. So I consider myself very, very special. Thank you very much.
Mr. Cameron?
I had asked you earlier, how could you retire at such a young age? But my 3 boys went through the school system as well, and I think I've known you for 30 years of the 33 years you served on the committee. And many times we'd run into each other and have a great conversation. And what's nice about it, it wasn't always about the school system. It was just about life in general. And you taught me a lot, just about life, and I appreciate that. Thank you, just as it seemed to be fitting enough for this evening. 33 years is a lot of elections to go through. And thank you for doing that for us. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I know I've been in touch with your sons, and so.
Oh, he looks forward to seeing you every week.
Yes, yeah. Nice on that. So, again, thank you very much. I hope this, go through this. So if anyone had any ideas, forget.
Over the past 2 years that I've been a member of the Board of Selectmen, I've come to appreciate the efforts of Kenneth Pacheco, a member of the Board of Selectmen and also a pillar of the Lions Club in the community. This will be his last meeting after serving 2 terms. We have a proclamation and also some citations from Senator Pacheco and Pat Haddad.
So I've asked that I could read a statement first. So it's a couple of pages, so please bear with me. I want to take this opportunity to thank the residents of Dayton. I was honored and humbled by your support for me when you elected me in 2018 and re-elected me in 2020. When I ran, I said that my goals, among others, were to help make Dayton more ADA compliant and to support a new library. Once elected, selectmen are asked to come up with a 5-year plan for 2 goals. My goals were the same as the ones I ran on. Thanks to the effort of our town ADA coordinator, Jonathan Gale, and the work of the Commission on Disability, Dayton has been able to remove some of the barriers for people with disabilities. We received a grant in 2019 for $30,000 to evaluate our town buildings and parks to identify any barriers for our residents. As a result of that grant, we applied for an additional grant to address some of the issues found in that study. Thanks to the hard work of Jonathan Gale and our town administrator, Mike Mullen, and others, Dayton received a $151,250 grant in December of 2021, the largest grant given to any town in that year from the state. This grant was used to change the ramp in front of Town Hall to a walkway, provide mats for our parks and playgrounds, Old Town Hall ramp for the stage, right over here, town website accessibility, bathroom barriers removed, and other items. I want to thank all of those who assisted in the grant writing. I want to thank our highway department and our building commissioner for all the work they did to make this happen. In March of 2020, because of COVID-19, the town had to close the Dayton Public Library. When things got better, we were not allowed to reopen the library because of various accessibility issues. As a result, we had to house the library in a trailer and in the basement of Town Hall. In June of 2022, the town residents were given the opportunity to purchase the historic Smith Hall for $790,000 using ARPA funds for our new library. You wisely voted to approve the purchase of the hall. In addition, we received $200,000 from the state with the help of State Senator Mark Pacheco and State Representative Pat Haddad to help us renovate the hall. The town received a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council in March for over $26,000 for the library. In addition, our library director, Jocelyn Tavares, and our ADA coordinator, Jonathan Gale, have applied for a $20,000 grant to assist the library with its patrons with disabilities. The Library Building Committee has gone before CPC requesting $323,000 to continue to work to make the library a reality. As a result of CBC recommendations, this will go before residents on June 5th, hopefully for their approval. I want to thank the town employees who I've had the pleasure to work with. Dayton is fortunate to have them. I would like to also thank all the volunteers in town who are on different boards and committees who work quietly and for some of them freely, giving them time to make Dayton a better place to live. I want to thank former Selectman Nancy Goulart and Brett Sografis for their assistance and guidance when I joined the board. I want to thank Leon Curran, our administrative assistant, and Karen Brady, our executive assistant, to the board for all the help they have given me over the years. Among the many things they do, I really appreciate the work that they do to prepare our meetings. I want to especially thank our town administrator, Mike Mullen, for all the work he has done for Dayton. It was one of the best decisions that I made, voting to hire him as our town administrator. We are lucky to have him. I want to thank my colleagues for bearing with me. We've had some disagreements over the years, past couple of years. However, we've always had respect for each other, and we were friends at the end of the meeting, so I appreciate that. It's not always that easy sometimes. But most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Chris, who is one of my best supporters, who is, when I leave these meetings, she allows me to vent for about a half an hour, and then she says it's time to move on. I want to thank my children for their support and my grandchildren who are present here. I have been very fortunate to be married to this woman, Chris, for the last 51 years. I don't know how I would have survived without you. So I really appreciate your support and my family members. I want to thank you for coming here tonight. It is not easy to leave this office. I made this decision prior to me having the stroke, so it wasn't as a result of the stroke. However, that made this decision a little bit easier for me. I will not be disappearing. However, I will be slowing down, and Chris and I will be spending a little bit more time with our family, as well as doing a little bit more traveling. As some of you know, we don't just meet every 2 weeks, and we've got other things we do, so we're very busy. We have a lot of other meetings, as the board members know. So I appreciate Chris for putting up with that. Many times she's asked to go someplace, but I've had a meeting to go to. And I have to apologize for our 50th wedding anniversary when I had a meeting, and I went to the meeting. But you were very sympathetic to that situation. So I want to thank the town for allowing me to be your selectman. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Karen?
Ken, I've known you for a long time. The days of being on the zoning board of appeals,
Yeah.
we've been through a lot.
Yes.
40Bs and
Oh,
angry residents and
Yeah.
some happy residents. But it's been at least 20 years. And what I appreciate more than anything is the conversations we had outside of town politics.
Yeah.
They were some of the best.
Yeah.
Talk about raising children and raising chickens. And I don't know how you did it. 30 some odd years you've been with?
23 years.
Yes, 23 years?
Yeah.
I don't know how you put up with all that time. It's a strength to you. I've always known you to be a gentleman and to stick by your principles, which is a great trait. And one of the things that I never really got to thank you for is, some of you may know, I used to suffer from seizures. And I had one at a town meeting once. And my son told me you were the first one to help me out of the building.
Yep.
And recommended that the cameras be turned off. And I never got to thank you. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
At this time, I would ask that Representative Pat Haddad come forward for a presentation. Thank you.
So, this is incredibly melancholy for me. Your years of public service are, I'm sure, unmatched in this community. The things you've done, the time you've given, your demeanor, your calmness, and I'm surprised to hear there was any disagreements, but your demeanor and calmness for me have always helped in every situation. And I feel that there has been a wonderful personal connection. And so for me to say farewell, because nobody says goodbye, farewell is more difficult than you can imagine. I know that your wife and your daughters are very happy. I'm happy for them, but I'm not happy for the rest of us, because you're going to leave a void that I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to fill. So again, we need time to do the legislative process.
Right.
And so I have a nice resolution coming, so this is a placeholder. But I just want you to know how deeply gratified I am to have had time to work with you, to get to know you, and to be part of the town of Dayton with you by my side. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Senator Mark Pacheco.
I want to begin just by apologizing to Ken for any of the phone calls that he may have received over the years with the last name that we share. But seriously, we've had the opportunity to know each other for the better part of his service here to the town of Dayton, not only as a member of the Board of Selectmen, but all the numerous roles that he has played in the town's recent history. And I also had the opportunity to know him when he was the chief probation officer for the district court in Taunton. Tremendous responsibility in that full-time employment for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, serving in a role that can at times be very, very difficult and sometimes pretty dangerous. And to the person, when I would meet somebody for the first time associated in any way with the courts, one of the first people, of course, again, the last names, sharing last names, are you related to Ken Pacheco? And I said, no, and don't blame him for anything that I've taken a vote on. But they would want to share with me how much they respected him, how much they liked him as a person. And to the person, it was also all the people that had worked with him, which is, in my opinion, quite significant. So your role here, your leadership here in the town, I know you say you're going to take a little time, and I'm glad your wife has put up with you all these years, in particular with that 50th anniversary. Pat and I looked at each other. He got away with that? You've got to be kidding me. He's going to be...
I'm still paying for it.
You're still paying for it. I understand. But I also have a resolution coming that goes through a lot of your history here in Dayton, as Pat's will. And both of these resolutions actually have to be approved by the body. As a student of history, I know you know the process very, very well. And your history here will then be part of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts history. Until then, this citation is presented to Kenneth Pacheco, signed by the President of the Senate, and it's my honor as the senator from this district to present it to you. I'm honored to present this citation to you, Ken, and I wish you and your wife and the entire family so many pleasant nights during the week when you can turn on the TV and say what they should be doing.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Mr. Pacheco, on behalf of the residents of Dayton. I have this evening a proclamation and certificate of recognition. Whereas Mr. Kenneth Pacheco was born in Fall River, Massachusetts, as one of 8 children, was raised in Swansea, where he graduated from Case High School, went on to receive his bachelor's degree from Southeastern Massachusetts University in 1974, and obtained his master's degree from Assumption College. And whereas Mr. Kenneth Pacheco met his wife, Christine, while they were both attending Southeastern Massachusetts University. And the two have been married for over 51 years, have lived in Dayton for 36 years, where they raised their daughters Becky and Stephanie. They are also the proud grandparents of Terrell, Christian, Kate, and Nick. And whereas Mr. Kenneth Pacheco's hobbies include gardening, woodworking, reenacting with the Rehoboth Minutemen, and traveling the world with his wife. And whereas Mr. Kenneth Pacheco retired from the Taunton District Court in 2015 as a chief probation officer after 35 years, and has dedicated more than 23 years of public service to the town of Dayton, where he has been involved in various committees and commissions to include the Dayton Historical Society for over 34 years, where he serves as treasurer, the Dayton Lions Club, the Historical Commission, the Agricultural Committee, the Cemetery Commission, the Commission on Disability, the Library Building Committee, the Capital Outlay Committee, the Dayton Trails Committee, the 40B Committee, the Zoning Board of Appeals, where he served for 17 years, acting as chairman from 2014 to 2017. And finally, as a member of the Board of Selectmen, on which he served from 2018 to 2023, acting as chairman from 2019 to 2020 and 2021 to 2022. And whereas Mr. Kenneth Pacheco had set two goals when he became a selectman, and those were to make the town more ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, compliant, and addressing the town's longtime library needs. And both of those goals have been achieved. And now we, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton, do hereby recognize Mr. Kenneth Pacheco for his hard work and dedication to our community and residents. On behalf of our grateful community, we extend our sincere gratitude to Mr. Pacheco for his tireless efforts to move Dayton forward. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the great seal of the town of Dayton to be affixed on this 5th day of April, 2023. The Board of Selectmen of the town of Dayton. Leonard E. Hull, Jr., Chairman. Peter D. Karen, Clerk. On behalf of the Selectman's Office, Ms. Kerwin, Ms. Brady, Mr. Mullen, Mr. Karen, and myself, I'd like to present you with this gift.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I want to thank the residents of Dayton for putting up with me. Oh.
I'm sorry. Certainly. Oh, sir. Thank you. I would like to introduce the head of the chairman of the
I'm the
historical-
chairman of the Historical
Chairwoman.
Commission, chairperson. So I just we decided to present a certificate of appreciation to Ken on behalf of the Historical Commission. He is our liaison, and he provided much guidance and insight, especially to our town's governmental processes and how we should do things properly. So that was very helpful, so we didn't go like off kilter. And as you know, he was a great asset to the board, to the commission, because of his interest in history and especially local history. And he brought that interest to every commission meeting we had, and we'll greatly miss your input. So tonight, the certificate of appreciation is presented to Kenneth Pacheco in recognition of his invaluable contributions as the Board of Selectmen liaison to the Dayton Historical Commission on this 5th day of April, 2023, and it's signed by the 5 members. So we appreciate it. And we sincerely thank you for helping to preserve Dayton's history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank the commission.
Thank you.
So again, I would like to thank the residents putting up with me. I've enjoyed my time with the board. There's been times when I didn't enjoy it, quite frankly, but most of the time I have, and I have a lot of respect for the residents, and I look forward to continuing to do something for the town. So I appreciate everything you've done for me. Thank you.
Next on the agenda.
So we've got some work to do. So, I'll take a picture with the board, and Karen and Mike, if you don't mind being in the picture. I'll take a picture with my family.
It is truly negotiation. That's why we consider that, there's options, we'll talk about it. It may not, nothing may come up. We'll talk about it. Okay.
What's that? I think it's Chris's. I think it's some others.
I believe Mrs. Terry
I'd like to come back another time.
due to a scheduling conflict, I am going to have to table the next item on the agenda. Members of the Sewer Commission are also attending a planning board meeting as we speak. So as a result, I will entertain a motion to table the Dayton Sewer Commission joint meeting and appointment of a sewer commissioner until the April 12th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made and second. All those in favor, Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
Aye.
Chairman Hull is an aye. Next on the agenda is the Police Department, Sean Cronin, who I don't see here this evening. Is there anyone to speak on behalf of the Police Department about the police training range at the transfer station?
We have Sergeant Jay McGovern and an Officer Kenny Almeida.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, as you said, I'm Sergeant Jason McGovern from the Police Department. I'm in charge of our firearms training program for the department. We're asking for, tonight, for the board's approval to utilize the facility that we have just off of Tremont Street for some specialized firearms training put on by the Municipal Police Training Council. It's a great opportunity for us to have some of our members go down and train. It opens up a whole bunch of possibilities for us as far as bringing in the MPTC. I have with me Officer Almeida. He is also an MPTC lead firearms instructor. So I'm going to turn it over to him now, and he can give you a little bit more about what the training is and what we're actually asking for and how it can benefit.
Thank you very much. Officer Almeida?
Good evening.
Good evening.
What Sergeant McGovern and I are working on is essentially bringing training to Dayton and utilizing the range that we have right now that we currently share with Taunton PD and utilizing that to expand upon the training that we have going on right now. Currently with POST, the Police Officer and Standards Training Commission, we have a greater duty to train our officers. I will say that the town of Dayton has some of the highest trained police officers in the Commonwealth. We are a very training forward agency. And most of the people that Sergeant McGovern and I teach with are all highly trained, post-C certified police officers as well as MPTC instructors. In addition to my role with the town, I'm also a lead instructor for the Mass Police Training Council when it comes to firearms. What we're looking to do is host some of the specialized trainings while recognizing the needs of the town. So what we're looking to do essentially is host academy training and specialized training when it comes to firearms and respecting what the town expects of us when it comes to these training requirements. The one thing I want to emphasize more than anything is these are requirements mandated upon us by the state. So what it does is it turns the town of Dayton and the police department to a training epicenter where we're not hosting large amounts of classes, but we have the police officers in this town who are highly trained and highly certified in making sure all the officers in the Commonwealth meet the same standards that we hold for our police officers in the town of Dayton. I like to think we're a model agency for a lot of small departments based on the training that we go through, and this just helps expand upon that, and it also paints the town and the police department in an even better light than we already are.
Thank you. Mr. Pacheco, do you have any questions?
Yes, will the public be notified when the training will be going on? It's important that they be notified so that they're not making phone calls to the police station regarding firing.
That is something through our social media presence and through the website, we'll make sure that we make notifications of when police training will be held. I'm pretty certain we're already doing that and making sure that we notify people. The other important caveat, I know Dayton is a big hunting community. We are not looking to host anything from October on. We recognize bow season, we recognize shotgun and muzzleloader. I'm a hunter myself. We want to make sure that hunting season is respected, and we also want to make it known to the residents of the town that we're very stringent on the hours that we shoot. And I can promise you on my position as a police officer in the town and as a role as an instructor for the Mass Police Training Council that a round will not be fired before 9 a.m. and we will be finished by 3 p.m. It is an 8-hour day of instruction, but a lot of that also involves, as you know, sir, is weapons maintenance at the end of the day, making sure we're doing safety briefs. And the other piece of it is there's no liability on the town with this training occurring. The liability falls on the Mass Police Training Council, because as MPTC instructors, we're instructors under the color of our badge, but when we're working for the council, we are working directly for the council, paid by the council to teach these police officers and deputy sheriffs that would come under our tutelage for training. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Karen?
No, everything's in the letter that I would ask.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote to approve this, or is this?
Yes, I would. I would recommend that the board vote to approve the request from the chief. As outlined by Officer Almeida as proposed.
I'll entertain that in the form of a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
is an aye.
Chairman Hull is an aye as well. Next on the agenda Building Commissioner Jim Aguirre, and Granite City Partners. Mr. Aguirre?
Thank you, Board. Hello, Dayton. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to do a quick intro, and then I'll turn it over to Holly from Granite City. So the reason we are here before you tonight is the Board of Selectmen had asked if we could look at the budget and see if we could further make cuts or find savings, et cetera, et cetera. In doing so, we would look at the budget itself, scrutinize it, and then also see if we could use any in-house services that we've done in the past on other projects to do so. We did. I thought I would be able to find more than we did, but we weren't. We only find a little less than 50,000. But that tells me that the original budget that was provided by Granite City was on par and wasn't inflated. So with that said, I'll defer to Holly with the specifics.
All right, thank you, Select Board. My name is Holly Roach Robinson of Granite City Partners. We're the owner's project manager for both the exterior siding project and the interior project at the Dayton Town Library at Smith Memorial Hall. I wanted to give a quick update on the exterior siding project first. The exterior siding project is nearing completion. If you haven't driven by it already, I hope that you do soon. It looks great. The contractor, Brian Patch of Patch Construction, was the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, and they are well ahead of schedule. We had anticipated 180 days for completion of this project, and we're at about 90, and they are substantially complete. The only item that we are waiting on is some painting services, which was an additional ask of them in order to paint the trim, the windows, and the soffit and other items, just for a consistent look across the building. And they just need to wait for some better, more favorable weather for that paint to dry and adhese appropriately. So once we get about 60-degree weather, they'll be back to complete those items. On a budget standpoint, for this project, we started off with $350,000. 150 of that was an annual town meeting appropriation, and 200 of that was a state budget line item. The contractor came in, again, the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, Patch Construction, or Plan B Construction, owner Brian Patch, came in at around $250,000 for their bid, including red cedar shingles. And then there was some additional work added on. As I had mentioned, the painting, the insulation was a bit more labor intensive than we had anticipated, and we also asked them to insulate the attic and ceiling space for more building efficiency. We asked them to infill some of the back windows, which I will show you in a second. The basement windows were kind of covered up with plywood, and that really wasn't weather tight for the building, so we asked them to inlay that with brick. And there's also some builders insurance and Granite City Partners oversight in that project budget. With all of that, we've landed at around $320,000 all in, which leaves about $30,000 left over remaining in that project. I just have some photos here, kind of before and afters. The photo to your left is the before, and the photo to your right is the after. So it shows that the siding has been completed. A lot of the painting has been completed, but they do need to come back. I want to be clear, the columns are removed because they're being painted. They're not being removed, they will be put back. And if you go to the next slide, that is the side of the building, and the next slide shows the back, where you can see those brick infilled windows. So you can see at the basement level, on the left, they were filled in with plywood. On the right, they're filled in with brick. Moving on to the interior project. The overall budget that we had presented was $812,000 all in for the interior of the building. We will be before you to request that the building permit fees be waived, and that would bring us to just under $800,000. We do have a CPC funding request approved by the CPC, the Community Preservation Committee, for $323,000. Hopefully will be approved at town meeting. And that brought us down to about $475,000 for round numbers. As the commissioner had mentioned, we took a look at the budget. to see if there was any savings that we could realize in doing some in-house work. And if you scroll to the next slide. Thank you to the hard work of Jocelyn Tavares and the Library Building Committee. We were able to get a Massachusetts Cultural Sector Recovery Grant for $26,660. We took a look at doing some in-house electrical work and in-house lighting, and we were able to save about $15,000 doing a good portion of that in-house. We had anticipated for the fire alarm panel that we would have to relocate that to another portion of the building. We've retaken a look at that and realized that it's a lot easier with the main entrance still being that curvilinear space at the front. We could just flip that fire alarm panel to the opposite side of the wall, so that's a savings of about $25,000. And with in-house painting services, we would save about $2,500. And with that, we end right at around $404,000 for the remaining capital requests that would need to be funded.
Thank you. Mr. Pacheco, any questions?
Not a question, I just want to thank Holly and Jim for looking at the budget and reducing the figures for the people in Dayton. It's about $70,000 in reduction, so it's really appreciated. And I know we're thinking of using BP students to help us at the library, so that's a great thought, and thanks for pursuing that. I think Chairman Hull had some involvement in that, so appreciate that also. Thank you.
Mr. Karen?
2 questions. Is the only entrance to the basement from the outside?
Not currently, but that would be the plan. Yes.
Okay. And what's your plans for the $403,000?
That is the interior portion of the work that is not, sorry.
No, where would it come from?
Oh, I think that's, I would defer to Mike.
We'll address it.
Yes, so the 404,000 is part of a, it would be part of a capital request that based on the proposed warrant article, when the library building committee met last week, they did propose an article to the selectmen for the annual town meeting that would read to see if the town would vote to transfer from available funds a sum of money not to exceed $404,000 to fund Dayton Public Library building and property improvements and related upgrades at 207 Main Street, or take any action relative thereto. So we do have the opportunity now through the capital funding process to look at a few funding sources. We do have the opportunity. We do have an opportunity through funds available through capital stabilization. We do have an ability to look at the current year, the current fiscal year 23 budget as well, to see if there's an opportunity to transfer any funds from that. So those are the two main funding sources that we have now. The Capital Outlay Committee has been meeting. They met twice over the last 3 weeks, and they actually in a meeting earlier this week highly ranked in terms of the prioritization of this proposal as well. And so as we continue on through the annual town meeting planning process, a big part of the work ahead of us will look at what warrant articles that we need to fund, and the funding opportunities that we do have, whether it's funding from our current year budget, whether it is funding from capital stabilization or any other source.
So the outlays opinion was stabilization? They actually don't make that recommendation. That recommendation actually comes from the FinCom and the selectmen. Okay. Yeah, like part of the process. No other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Aguirre? A couple of things. Sure. Thank you for your efforts.
You're very welcome.
Coverages on the weekend, spending time cutting the budget on this project. This project was earmarked of costing $2 million. This day and age, that's pretty inexpensive. Where are we at now, based on cuts and being frugal? What appears to be our target number?
It's just under 2 million, 1.9.
Yeah, 1.936, which when we went to town meeting last year and proposed the project, we actually proposed the building acquisition and the needed building improvements. But we actually proposed a budget to complete the acquisition and building improvements at approximately $2 million. So right now with the projections, and the funding that we have already secured or been granted, those total costs are combined with what we would be asking at town meeting, would bring us to an all-in number under the $2 million.
Thank you.
I would like to add one thing.
Certainly.
I would like everyone to know that the selectmen have been very supportive with any projects that I've overseen, all paid with taxpayer funds to date. We had very little grant opportunities until now. But I assure you that if there are any savings that can be had throughout this process, the relationship that GCP and I have developed is sort of, it's not really seen. So we have a mutual respect for one another with each other's capabilities. So I'm sure if I find a cost savings method and GCP supports that, we will certainly implement it. And any savings that are realized throughout this process, obviously the goal will be get that down as low as we can. That money would then be turned back and put back into the town coffers. Additionally, the building committee, library building committee, has made it clear that any grant opportunities throughout this project process need to be sought after. So any grants that are received will offset the capital requests. Certainly, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you that I'm going to save X or Y, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that we spend the money as frugally as possible.
$400,000 is a lot of money.
It is. It is. But to Selectman Hull's original statement, to duplicate that building today, you can't duplicate it for anywhere near $2 million.
No.
The 403, does that include HVAC?
No, that is included in the CPC request of $323,000.
That would be part of the CPC request. Okay. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's a good point. You know that we've also applied for a grant for HVAC.
Yes.
So if that grant is received and awarded, then the amount with CPC would be reduced. And then if we can offset any other capital cost through an additional CPC request, that seems to be what the intent will be. However, I will say publicly that GCP and I also looked at how much would be CPC eligible. There's not a lot more that's CPC eligible. So the capital request is pretty solid.
And Jocelyn Tavares and I met with Michael Bobbitt, who is the director of the grant program, and they were very impressed with the grant application. And they were very positive in their response. They could not guarantee we're going to get the grant, but they were very positive in their review of it. So that's encouraging. Are there any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that being said, I will entertain a motion to place on the warrant an article that will read as follows: to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds a sum of money not to exceed $404,000 to fund Dayton Public Library building and property improvements and related upgrades at 207 Main Street, or take any action relative thereto.
I'll make that motion.
I can't second that yet.
Chairman Hull will step down and second that motion. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
No.
Chairman Hull is an aye. The motion passes. Mr. Mullen, that will be reviewed by town council as part of the warrant project.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is announcements.
I'll read the announcements. Absentee ballot applications are available for the Saturday, April 8th, 2023 annual town election. Absentee ballots are available in person at the town clerk's office, on the Secretary of State's website, and on the Town of Dayton's website. Use the search bar and type absentee voter application. MassDOT will be performing pavement repairs in the areas of 1881 and 2011 County Street on April 13th, 2023, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. There will be one-lane closure with alternating traffic. For questions, please contact District 5 Construction Office at 857-368-5104. The Town of Dayton's food bank distribution will be held next on April 15, 2023, located at Town Hall, 979 Somerset Avenue in the lower level. On Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, will coordinate with the Dayton Police Department for a one-day collaborative prescription drug take-back initiative event to remove potentially dangerous controlled substances from homes. On Saturday, May 6, 2023, the Dayton Fire Association will hold their 4th annual Touch a Truck event on the property of Manheim, New England, located at 123 William Street. This event is free to the public. This event is also a no siren event. That's the announcements, Mr. Chairman.
Can I just ask you a question about the food bank?
Yes.
Does the residents have to do anything besides just come up?
What do you mean by that?
They,
They have to apply.
they have to.
They have to
apply.
prove that they're eligible for the food bank. And we keep a record of it. They keep a record of it. And as people come in, we take their names down, but they've all had to apply and they had to meet certain criteria.
Oh, okay.
So it's not an automatic.
So it's not just somebody shows up and they get.
Yeah, you and I can't go there and get food.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public input. And in regards to public input, we are limiting comment to 5 minutes. We ask if you are a town employee and that you have business, town business to present, that you see Mr. Mullen or Ms. Brady to be placed on the agenda, and we'll discuss it as a business action item. In regards to public employees, by contractual agreement, we are not permitted to discuss the performance, character of a public employee in open session. If you have any concerns or questions about a specific employee of the town, please forward them to Mrs. Brady or Mr. Mullen. At this time, I will open up to public input. Mr. Rooney.
Mr. Chair,
Incredible day over at Dayton Elementary today.
phenomenal day. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Rooney, Superintendent of Schools, Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District. I live in Rhode Island, but I spend most of my time at 2700 Regional Road, North Dayton. Even though she's gone, I'd like to acknowledge again Mrs. Terry's service to the Dayton Rehoboth School Committee. I've had the pleasure of working with her for the last 7 months. She was on the team that hired me, and I'll always be grateful for not only her service, but also the fact that she was instrumental in giving me this opportunity. Mr. Pacheco, I want to congratulate you on a well-deserved retirement. And one of the things that you left off of your resume that I think is extremely poignant at this particular time is that you helped the town fund a SRO for the Dayton campus. And so now we're fortunate to have an SRO at 3 out of our 5 schools. and those are both serviced by the Dayton Police Department. And on the heels of the horrible tragedy that took place in Nashville last week, I am personally grateful to you and to the town and to the Dayton Police Department for all the efforts to keep our students and staff safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
But the main reason why I'm here tonight is the district is on fire this week in a good way. We have had just a banner week. We were actually recognized nationally twice. I was able to find out on Monday that the National Educational Theater Association has named Dayton-Rehoboth Regional High School and its theater company as one of the premier theater communities in the nation. There are only 25 schools that are selected across the entire nation for this distinction, and we're the only one that's even remotely close to the New England area. And so I want to thank Mrs. LaSalle, who's our theater director, as well as our parents and family members that support the theater program, as well as our school committee, who has been very supportive, not only by attending the events, but also allowing our theater students to come and make presentations at our school committee meetings. And I think it is important that I as often as possible, celebrate the wonderful things about our high school. And for those of you that have heard me speak before, I realize that our high school needs a lot of work, but we have made a tremendous amount of progress just in the 7 months that I've been here. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. And I am always quick to say that there are always wonderful things that were going on. We just didn't do a good enough job of publicizing it. So this one was an easy one when a national theater agency acknowledges our theater program. And then today, we were able to present a National Teaching Award through the Milken Foundation to one of our teachers at Dayton Elementary School. She is a reading interventionist. She used to be a first grade teacher. Her name is Lee Beeson. And we were able to surprise her today. We had probably more media in Dayton Elementary School than we probably have had over the course of probably the last 5 years combined. We had Boston stations, we had Providence stations, and to be able to see the look on her face when she was surprised, because she thought it was just an all-school assembly for the deputy commissioner to come and speak to the students. And the representative from the Milken Foundation was able to present that award to her. And in addition to the award, she receives a $25,000 cash prize she has 3 young children, so she had said that she's going to start a college fund. So I just wanted to take the opportunity, since I was here already, for Mrs. Terry's recognition to let the town know, again, how much we appreciate the support for our schools. I realize that the taxpayers and the town have a lot of commitments, a lot of departments, and we're just very grateful for the support. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. Thank you. As a follow-up to Mr. Rooney, I would like to add that he took the risk or the courage to bring in Lynn Desert as the new principal of Dayton Elementary School. And in the short period of time that Ms. Desert has been at Dayton Elementary School, that school has won national recognition. There was only one recipient in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for the Milken Award. They have also received 2 Feinstein Awards for academic excellence this year alone. That speaks highly of the culture of excellence that has been developed at Dayton Elementary. It makes us all proud. And I'm sure the word goes out to other communities, and it draws families into this community. Thank you, Mr. Rooney, for outstanding job in bringing Ms. Desert to our town. Thank you. Is there anyone else public input? Mr. Reynolds. For the record, could you state your name and your address?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Paul Reynolds. I live at 725 Main Street. As has already been said by people far more eloquent than me, I just want to wish Ken a happy retirement. Selectman Pacheco, I know that after many years of community service that you'll be stepping back but still remaining involved in some of your various activities. So while a chapter may end, the story continues, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much. Additionally, I wanted to recognize the Dayton Police Department. Over the weekend, they hosted a Coffee with a Cop event at North Dayton in Dunkin' Donuts, the Dunkin' Donuts in North Dayton. I thought that was fantastic. I took my two young boys, and I think that it's great to see community outreach and investment in the community. As Officer Almeida said earlier tonight, we've got a very training heavy department, training forward rather. It's great to see that they also apply that same initiative to engaging with the community and making sure to stay connected with residents. I think that it is far better to build a bond with young people than to try to fix a broken bond with an adult who wasn't able to connect with the public safety in their community. I think that it was a great initiative. I just wanted to applaud them for doing that, and specifically I wanted to recognize Officers Ferreira and Sergeant McGann for taking some time out of their Saturday morning to buy some munchkins for my twin boys, and it was great, and I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Mr. Reynolds, thank you very much. Is anyone else?
We do have the cable. Has everybody seen him, Mr. Chairman?
Is that Laura?
I think Laura.
Yes, it is, and I also
Good
don't
evening.
know how to lower the hand now.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're able to do that.
Go ahead, Laura.
I'm sorry I wasn't there tonight, but I just wanted to thank Ken for everything that he's done. As I'm sure everyone in this room and anybody else on Zoom knows, sometimes the meetings can go a little long, and adding a little bit of humor like he does was always nice to hear, so we'll definitely miss that. So I just wanted to thank you, and I'm sure we'll see your face around. I know that although you're retiring, you're not actually retiring, so I'm excited to see you keep doing things, but enjoy your time with the family too.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, come on up. Good evening, sir.
Kevin Smith, 1147 Center Street. I also want to thank Selectman Pacheco. He is one of the reasons why I do what I do with the town. I got to start working with Ken on the Commission on Disability, and he was one of my good friends who twisted my arms into Parks and Rec, and I saw his wife Chris on the way out, and I congratulated her on getting her husband back, and I said, I'll probably be cursing you in 30 years when I'm facing the same thing, asking myself how you did it so long. But I want to thank you for encouraging me to get involved. And I think every member of the Board of Selectmen has always been supportive of me and Parks and Rec, but Ken especially has always gone out of his way to come out and help with just about everything that we've ever done, from spreading mulch, and even I think about, it's not Parks and Rec related, but just working on the community garden. Like you've always been out there physically helping the community, not just sitting at this table. So I certainly appreciate that as a resident of this town. One thing, thank you. I just wanted just to echo what Mr. Reynolds was saying with the police department. I do want to thank them as well, because this past weekend Parks and Rec had their annual Easter egg hunt, which it's the best 40-second event of the year. It takes us about 6 hours to set it up and break it down, but this year was special because Officer Ferreira had reached out because the two SROs, Officer Hathaway and Officer Bennett, wanted to get involved and be part of the Easter egg hunt. So they came out and joined us. Not only did they help us set up, they had some special prizes, and then of course they brought the star of the show, Oki, and it was nice because in years past, and this was only the second year that I got to be a part of the Easter egg hunt, because we had a couple years off with COVID. Typically it's a 40-second rush. You get run over by these kids trying to scoop up as many eggs as possible, and they go. But it was really, really nice. We were blessed with some good weather, and everybody stuck around and really, conversed and visited with the police department, mostly because Oki, I don't want to give them too much credit. But it was really nice. So I want to thank them for going out of their way for working with us, and you know, and hopefully that continues in the years to come, because it made the event just that much more special. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, thank you, but I'm not finished yet, excuse me.
Did I get in trouble by coming?
No. One of your members is a former student of mine, and she raved about how wonderful the Easter egg hunt was Sunday. And I want to thank you, Rachel Goulart, and Susan Cody for all that you've done with that event to make it a really, not only enjoyable event, but one that the citizens of Dayton look forward to each year. In addition, Susan Cody will not be returning as a member of Park and Rec, and her term of service will be ending on Saturday. And I'd like to thank her for her efforts on behalf of the citizens of Dayton.
Thank you. Actually, as you stopped me, that's the first thing that popped in my head too, is yes. So Sue has been a member of Parks and Rec for 8 years, and she's not seeking re-election, but yes, she's been great to work with. She cares deeply about the community, and she's promised me that she is going to stay involved in some way, shape, or form, just volunteering to help us run events and do different activities. But yes, we're very, very thankful, and Sue will be missed as part of the commission.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Gale? If you would like, you can speak from there. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Jonathan Gale, 22 Waterford Circle in Dayton. And I want to echo what everyone else has said about Ken's commitment to the town, and especially to people with disability. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing in this town, for this town, if it weren't for the support I've gotten from a lot of people, but especially the support that I've gotten from Mr. Pacheco. When he and I first met, we met not knowing one another, not knowing one another's background or past at all. But we very, very quickly found out that we have something in common. I'm totally blind. Mr. Pacheco happens to have a brother who has a visual impairment. So that was our first kind of foray into having conversation and talking about disability and resources, things like that. I think that Ken's commitment to all of the residents in the town, to making sure that the town continues to move forward and not backward, is unsurpassed, frankly. He does it very quietly. Sometimes even he and I agree to disagree. And that's okay, because that's part of the process and that's what it should be. But it's always been respectful, caring. Ken, I have to thank you for all the rides here that you've given me over the past couple of years. I would send him a text and say, FYI, can I hitch with you? And he'd say, sure, I'm picking you up early so we can stop for coffee. And every once in a while he'd say, we're not getting coffee tonight because I have something else to do. So I just want to thank you for all you've done, all the support you've given me, all the support you've given people with disability in the town. And you were the first person, as the Board of Selectmen was getting used to thinking in terms of disability, you were one of the first people who always said, check with the ADA coordinator. Others now do it as well too and follow that role, and I appreciate everybody doing that. But you were the very first person who always says, what does the ADA coordinator think? Has anybody checked with the ADA coordinator, et cetera, for all the different things around town that we have. If it weren't for the work of the Board of Selectmen in general, all the things that are throughout this community for persons with disability wouldn't exist. And it all started with Mr. Pacheco. So thank you very, very much for that, for the whole community.
Thank you for your kind words, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Next on the agenda is Selectmen reports. I just have one announcement from the clerk's office. Clerk Mark Pacheco has informed me that as of April 1st, 2023, Governor Maura Healey has extended the Zoom requirement to March 31st, 2025. So virtual meetings, exclusive virtual meetings will still be allowed. Hybrid is permissible, in-person is permissible, but virtual only will continue to be allowed through March 31st of 2025. Mr. Karen.
I have two things. One, solid waste committee. We met the other night and we're putting together a flyer to go out in the mail about the bulky day pickup and the new requirements for the transfer station. And one of the things that the bulky waste, bulky pickup this year, we will not be taking mattresses. So those who want to return them would still have to go to the transfer station. And the other thing is not the library, what do they call it, union, have we met?
The highway union.
No, Monday, clerical union. We seem to come to a
That's
agreement.
excellent. That is excellent.
Yes, it worked out good with only 3 meetings, possibly 4. But that looked like we have a tentative agreement.
Thank you.
What makes that so incredible is that there are many sub-union, sub-parts to that union, different departments that all have their own individual needs. And to get everyone to agree and to get the Board of Selectmen on board with that is quite an accomplishment. Mr. Karen, Mr. Mullen, thank you. Thank you for your efforts.
That's it.
Mr. Pacheco.
I have no reports.
Mr. Mullen?
I just want to add, I actually, when crafting this agenda, we actually took out the town administrator's report. And I realized earlier that I wanted my own opportunity to thank. I have to thank you. You have to thank you, Ken, as well. I remember just over 2 years ago, I had to interview for the Zoom of all places for the whole, I am now, and I was, and I was overwhelmed. I've been to Dayton a few times, in preparation, and I really wanted to make sure, I knew, what type of town I wanted to work in. And, watching the board meetings leading up to that, attending the November 2020, special town meeting, I saw, really the example, the type of role, the steady leadership he brought to the board. And, I knew really then that I wanted to work for the Dayton because, the leaders like you, the example that you brought, and, you gave me my first real, incredible opportunity here, Ken, and I, and over the last 2 years, you've encouraged me, you really helped me to build my confidence in what, the work we've done together, you welcome my family into town as well, because I view my role here as really a lifestyle role that also involves my family, and, and every time I brought my wife and kids to town, you've been incredibly gracious to them, you brought them, you and Chris have brought them Christmas presents, and, really the personal, the personal relationship that we built, because that's what you do, when you do this work, you build personal relationships with people, and I just really want to thank you, for everything it means, everything up to me and my family, and to everyone here, what you've done, so I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Mullen, thank you very much. Next meeting, we will be appointing a new member of the Board of Selectmen to the Library Building Committee, as Mr. Pacheco's term of office will end. the Library Building Committee has a request before us this evening to appoint Mr. Kenneth Pacheco as an at-large member to the Library Building Committee. I will open it up to discussion before I'll entertain a motion.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. With that
I'll
being,
make that motion
yes,
to appoint Kenneth as an at-large member to the...
I will step down as chair to second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Karen, aye. Chairman Hull is an aye.
I'll abstain. I told you I wasn't going away, so. Thank you for
Thank
that
you.
opportunity. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the annual FP2 permit renewals. I have a letter from Karen Brady, Executive Assistant to the Board of Selectmen. By this letter, I am respectfully requesting approval by the Board of Selectmen for renewal of the underground storage facility permits FP2 for the following: HTKL Dayton LLC, 1995 Winthrop Street, North Dayton. Edward Reese, 556 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. Denise Patel, 1866 County Street, Dayton. The property and tanks have been inspected by the fire captain, and the fire chief has indicated his approval by his signature on the licenses as needed. Upon payment of the $35, a certificate of registrations and licenses will be released to each of them. Thank you in advance for your consideration of this request. Is there any discussion? With that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve the permits for HTKL Dayton LLC, Edward Reese, and Denise Patel.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
Is an aye.
Chairman Hull is an aye. Next item on the agenda is to approve town administrator as the authorized representative to the Mass CEA Energy Aggregation Program. Mr. Mullen, could you give us a little bit of a summation of this program?
So, like as the board knows, and as our residents know, we've been involved in a very, very beneficial program called the Mass Community Electric Aggregation Program since January 2016. The initial contract term ran through December of 2018. And the second contract term went from December of 20. The second contract term went from December of 18 to January 21. And then the current term we're in, that we're in now, went from January 21 and it actually ends December of 2023 this year. So, like over the course of the last a year and a half, like our residents and we as a town have been locked into an electric supply rate of 10.4 cents per kilowatt hour, and from January 16 through February 2023, that has resulted in a net savings of almost $3 million for Dayton and its ratepayers. You can see what our rates since 2016 have actually been able to do when you look at the national grid rates, and especially where they've been since I believe October or November of 2022. And right now, So right now, through the end of the calendar year, we're locked into 10.4 cents kilowatt hour, where our supply market is actually almost at 34 cents a kilowatt hour. So the long and short of it is, however, the current purchasing procurement that we're in until the end of January. So until the end of December, we have to think about procuring that. And we're part of a 25 town that goes out to bid together. And we had a meeting last week, and we just went out to bid. The group is having a pre-bid meeting on April 20th with the bid award on April 25th. On April 25th, I'm asking that the board authorize me to enter into that. But on the board's behalf, the energy market is so volatile that based on where the market is now, we believe, and our consultants believe this. It's a very beneficial time to put everything out to bid and hopefully be able to lock in. $2 per kilowatt hour for at least another year. Based on what actually comes back. During the April 20th meeting, we can see whether it makes sense to do a year. 2 years or anything more based on where the market is in. We have a meeting on the 26th and doing anything before. Based on where the market would be and what. We need to lock into the aggregation group. Is encouraging boards. Is encouraging boards to authorize the town administrator or town manager to enter into it. On behalf of the whole town.
Thank you. Mr. Karen, do you have any questions for us?
No, I guess the vote would be whether we vote for Mike to enter into the
Correct.
agreement.
Yes.
Right.
I have no questions.
Mr. Mullen, I do have a couple of questions. If individual residents wanted to take advantage of this program,
Yes.
who would they call, Constellation or Good Energy?
So they could call it either, Constellation can direct them. How to set up, they can call Good Energy. So also if our residents go to our town website, dayton-ma.gov, we have a link to all the sign up options there as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve Town Administrator Mike Mullen as the authorized representative to Mass CEA Energy Aggregation Program.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
Aye.
Chairman Hull is an aye. Approval of the warrants.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the following warrants dated March 30th, 2023. 39A-23, $105,478.31. 39B-23-23, $19,956.34. And 39C-23, $93,056.58.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen? Chairman Hull is an aye.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the following warrants dated on April 6, 2023. 40A-23, $105,285.07. 40B-23, $78,056.32. and 40C-23, $106.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen?
Is an aye.
Chairman Hull is an aye. Next on the agenda, a letter from Nancy Goulart regarding a public acknowledgement. Mrs. Goulart, would you ask that I, okay, do you want to come before the board? Thank you. Thank you.
Copy of it.
Certainly.
I just had a question to Mr. Mullen. What is the rate that do we know what the rate's gonna be for our electricity?
No, not as of yet. We'll know by April 25th what exactly we're locking into.
And will we continue the additional penny for municipal buildings through the MMA Constellation program?
Yes, I believe so.
I
Nothing
know
will
it's
change through that.
Well, I know aggregation is separate.
Yes.
But Charlotte Diogo at MMA is the contact, it has continued since we got it. And a penny per kilowatt hour for municipal buildings doesn't sound like a lot, but it would be good if we got that number because it's substantial. It's over and above what we get as members of the aggregation, and it's through MMA. So it's something we need to check on.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Goulart, tonight, this letter I'm going to read, I wrote as a member of the Stormwater Committee, as chairman. It's dated March 16th, and it was addressed to Mr. Eric Easterday, chairman, and Mr. William Moore, member. Board of Assessors, 1111 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. 02715. Dear Mrs. Easterday and Moore, on Thursday, March 16th, 2023, I attended a site walk with my colleagues on the Stormwater Committee and representatives of Blue Wave Solar, including the project manager, engineer, tree removal company, and the property owners, Mr. and Mrs. James Cabral at 903 Tremont Street. The purpose of the visit was the pre-construction meeting to walk the site and review the plans while inspecting the measures in place to control runoff and soil erosion once land clearing begins. During the site walk, I spent most of my time with Jim and Lynn Cabral. It was during that time that Mr. Cabral asked about Mrs. Carol Beauregard's passing. He complimented her, Stephanie Schechter, and Lisa Tetro for the help and assistance he received whenever he has contacted the assessor's office. As an assessor and a member of the Stormwater Committee, I wish to publicly acknowledge Mr. Cabral's appreciation and kind words about Mrs. Schechter, Ms. Tetro, and the late Mrs. Beauregard. It was gratifying to hear about the professional assistance that has been provided by employees in our office. Thank you all for your service to the town and the community. Sincerely, Dayton Stormwater Committee, Nancy J. Goulart, Chairman. And this was copied to the Board of Selectmen because I think that the comments made just at an informal, if you will, passing on a site visit, to hear that the property owners were very complimentary of town employees needed to be publicly recognized. I read this at the last Board of Assessors meeting, and we also recognized those employees for their service. So thank you very much for letting me do this tonight.
Thank you for the letter.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, correspondence from Laura Medeiros, Council of Aging Office Manager. We are pleased to inform you that the Dayton Council on Aging has received $100 from an anonymous donor. As usual, all donations are turned over to the town accountant and deposited in the Council on Aging gift account. Respectfully yours, Laura Medeiros, Office Manager, Council on Aging. Next on the agenda is approval of the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes of March 22nd, 2023.
I don't believe,
I'll entertain a motion to table it to the March 12th, April 12th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen? Chairman Hull is an aye. We will be entering into executive session. We will not be returning from executive session. Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions and preparations for non-negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the ADA coordinator. Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. I so declare. In regards to clerical union and the dispatchers union. And under Massachusetts General Law 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. We'll also be approving executive session minutes of the executive session meeting of March 22nd, 2023. And we'll also be approving the Board of Selectmen's Planning Board joint meeting minutes of March 1st, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Karen? It's an aye. Chairman Hull is an aye. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.